The next topic we're going to look at is, you know how the song goes. We play the way we want to. A big Ange Postecoglou, whether we're right or wrong. We saw a formation in that second half after we were down to 9 men that I think has never been seen in the Premier League before, with 9 players. Basically everyone in a line on that halfway line, and it was crazy. But the question I have for you, Alex, was that genius from Ange, or was that just batshit crazy from Ange?
It is a bit crazy, but I just think at the end of the day, he said it as well. He said it, and I think he had a joke about it. He says, even with 5 men, I'll still attack in the interviews, isn't it? So, you know, I can't really judge him, really, Ben. You know what I mean? I can't really judge it because, like I said before, it's difficult for him because he's only been here for a short period. He can only deal with things when it happens. You see what I'm saying? So after this situation has just happened now, he can look back at it and say, okay, if this situation happens again, I can try and adapt my system this way. You see what I'm saying? So I think it's just a case of we have to go through these things to try and understand what to do, what is the best solution to deal with it with the system he's got to play, and that's it. And that's trying to adapt to that system, not change it to be defensive and change to what he believes in, and that's it for me. So yes, it's going to be a bit more industrious, you know, trying to think of things on your toes and stuff. But I think, yeah, it was a bit crazy. I saw Højbjerg at the back as well, you know what I mean? It was a bit crazy seeing that as well. So, but I think it worked really well, and I think it really frazzled Chelsea. I've got to be honest. I don't think Chelsea came out of that game really well at all, to be honest with you. And
it looks like they didn't know they were panicking, weren't they, Chelsea? Time and time again. They looked
panicky, bro. They were panicky, and you know they were panicky because I was pleased I haven't got this name right. Mudryk
with a U, not an O. No, with a U. Mudryk. Yeah.
Mudryk. Is he nearly got sent off. He nearly got sent off, didn't he? Because I think it was a bad challenge on Vicario, wasn't it? You know what I mean? So, and I think that's from frustration because he was playing absolute rubbish. So, and again, I'll give people credit from the opposition if they're playing well. So I'm not like that, definitely not. But he was playing rubbish. But yeah, I think for me, he had to do what he had to do to try and get the result, and that's it. And he had to think on his toes, and I think he did well to think on his toes. He didn't panic. He didn't panic, and all through those games, especially the Sheffield United game, he's been tactically on the money. He has been tactically on the money. Let's be honest here. He has.
Yeah. Agreed. Completely agree. Brian, what do you think? Genius or crazy?
I think it's a bit of both. I think it's a bit of both. In all honesty. I mean, if you look at it, if Pep Guardiola had done this and City had got everyone be talking about it, it'd be worldwide news. Oh my God, this brand new formation, tiki taka, blah blah blah.
But Brian, if Pep Guardiola did it and they lost 4-1, would people say that Guardiola's overthinking it like they always do when he has a bad result?
Well, that's maybe. But you know what? He tried something. This is what we wanted. We wanted innovation. We wanted something different. Obviously, it didn't go to plan this time. But like Simeon said before, what did we do in Milan? We brought defenders on to defend the 1-0 defeat.
Yeah.
We want to see us going for it. We want to see to dare is to do. That's our bloody motto. So he's tried it. It didn't work. The personnel, hopefully, I pray to God we're not in those positions on multiple occasions. So we're going to be down to 9 and trying this. But he tried something. But again, what I'm taking from this is he said something and the players follow through with it.
Yeah.
Not, oh, okay, we're going to do this and then just drop off and not give it our all or drop our heads down. They gave it their all. They gave it their all. They just weren't up to it for the 90 minutes or for the second 45. And it's something they've learned from. So the only way you can improve and get better is by making a mistake. And that's the way you got to look at it.
Sim, do you feel like the way after watching that game, did the quote, I think it's from Bill Nicholson, did it resonate with you even more? You know, the one that says that aim so high that even failure can have an echo of glory.
I wasn't quite thinking of that quote after the game, but
does that resonate towards the game though? Have you ever seen a team try and go for it, try and get goals with 9 men?
I have never seen a team do what Postecoglou did. It was something very unique and very different. And it shows as well that he's willing to try different things and not just do conventional things to, try and nick a draw. We saw how Liverpool obviously handled going down to 9 men when they were hit at the Tottenham Stadium a few weeks ago. And to be fair, they nearly did nick a draw, but they were never going to hurt Tottenham. But then again, you'd argue with 9 men they had an option. But I think what Postecoglou's way of thinking was that if I'm going to try and win the game, I'm not going to try and just settle for a draw. Even though some people would argue that would be the smarter thing to do, his mentality was we're going to try and win this game by hook or by crook. That's the best. That's my philosophy. We're always going to look for the win, even when we're down to 9 men. The only real way of, because if we did what Liverpool did, there was no way we would score or even have a chance of scoring. So the only way I guess he was thinking of is if we can force mistakes out of Chelsea and force them into playing a ball over the top and be prepared for them playing that ball over the top with Vicario. Unless they get it spot on, inch perfect, then Vicario is going to be able to sweep up. We're going to be able to manage that. And maybe if we can push high, we can nick the ball off them a few times. And it did happen a few times. And we did have, I think, 2 or 3 chances during the game in that period. So you got to say, it's a fine line between crazy and genius. It depends if it works. If we score one of those chances, people are saying it's genius. Obviously, we miss them.
But then again, if Chelsea had a bit more quality about them, you could be talking about a bigger drubbing than we had.
Yeah, that's also true. No doubt about it. So, but maybe he looked at that Chelsea team and he thought they're not that confident. When they're put under pressure, maybe they're going to be making mistakes and maybe they're going to rush their decision making. That's what they did for a lot of that half. They did rush their decision making when put under the pressure, and Tottenham. For every sweep that Vicario comes out, obviously it looks really dangerous, but that was the plan, for them to play over the top of Vicario to pretty much be on the edge of his box waiting for it. And he was doing an excellent job sweeping, and hopefully he would force a few turnovers. I'm thinking that's what he was thinking. Obviously, if you go into that bit if you go into that part of the game after we go down to 9 men with the mentality of we're down to 9 men, we're going to just try and get a draw. Obviously, that's not the best way to go about that mentality. But if you're going in it with the mentality of we're down to 9 men, but we're still going to try and win this game, then I can't see a better way of trying to win it than probably what Postecoglou did. And obviously, the reality is, whatever people want to say, there aren't too many great options when you're down to 9 men. You have to choose between 2 bad options: either everyone camped in your own box and you just try and see out a draw, or try and do something really brave and still try and win the game. None of them are good options. When you're down to 9 men, it's obviously going to be a serious disadvantage. Hopefully it's not a situation we find ourselves in too often, so he doesn't have to think about what he's going to do if we're down to 9 men. But I just appreciated Postecoglou's braveness and willingness to try and take the game to Chelsea and make them think tactically. Even though we're down to 9 men, he didn't want to make things too easy for them, and he wanted to ask different questions of them. And yes, in the end, Chelsea came out on top and they won 4-1. If Van de Ven would have stayed on the pitch, it might have been a different story. If Maddison stayed on the pitch, all these different things. A lot of things went against us. It wasn't just the red cards, which meant that the result ended 4-1. But I would say, in terms of the tactic, I would say it's more crazy than genius, in my opinion. But I appreciate the braveness. I would say it's brave, and that's what. And I think all Tottenham fans watching it, I think, appreciated the braveness to still try and win the game, even with 9 men. Now, if we were desperate for a result,
it literally embodied Tadaris to do. That's what it was.
Yeah, but as I said before, if we were desperate for a result and we needed a draw to I don't know, later in the season, and he did that, I would maybe be a bit more pissed off. But seeing as we're at the start of the project, he's basically laying down a mark of what we can expect from this Tottenham team. I think I can accept it.
Super chat here from Alex, actually an Arsenal fan. I'm going to give it to you, Alex, as a question. Says, do you think if Son or Dyer scored the equaliser, you can hold on to the draw or even win that game? Honest question. Do you think if we nicked it, we could have held on?
Yeah, I think we could have. I think Chelsea are really on the rocks. I think the third goal they need the third goal to really secure the game, basically.
Yeah.
So, and it's just really weird I'm talking like this because I like I said, I don't rate Postecoglou right now. I still need time, but I have to go what I see, and what I saw is that it was just incredible for me. It was an amazing game for me, and for me, I just think that the Tottenham players really gave a big shift out there, a massive shift, and I think you have to give a lot of credit to Postecoglou on that. I have to give a lot of credit to Postecoglou because, you can collapse. The mindset of the players could have collapsed, and I think it's just, for me, just the fact that they got Chelsea so shook, and those goals could have gone in for me. I mean, I think I don't know why the second goal in the first half got ruled out. I think it was offside, wasn't it? I think in the end, wasn't it?
Whose goal was that?
I think it was Son, wasn't it? The first goal.
Yeah, just after we scored the first. Yeah, it was offside.
Yeah, offside. And then Son had a chance right at the end of the end of the second half. And Dyer scored as well. And I need to see that again.
Offside, yeah.
Offside. But it's just the fact that, they were just so shaky after scoring that goal. I definitely think we could have equalised, and we could have definitely got got a draw at the game. Definitely. But yeah, it's unfortunate.